Hello everyone, thank you for joining our webinar today, The Isle of Man, where your future in finance awaits. I'm Vori Barron and I am the Marketing Manager for Locate Isle of Man, an agency in the Isle of Man government, which is part of the Department for Enterprise. It's our absolute pleasure to welcome you here today to share more about the Isle of Man and also the opportunities available for young professionals in finance. So without further ado, we will move on to tell you a little bit more about the contents and what to expect today. So we will be looking through a brief introduction to the Isle of Man before introducing you to our moderator and panelists for today. We will then move into the panel discussion and then some next steps in terms of how you can get involved, how you can contact us, and how you can connect with more young professionals like yourselves to find out more about the Isle of Man. We will then move into a Q&A. For those that aren't able to attend today, and certainly those who are here today as well, thank you for joining us. We will be sending you a copy of this webinar after the webinar concludes. So as mentioned, I'm Vori Barron and I look after the marketing team here at Locate Isle of Man, and I'll be introducing more of the team later on through the panel session. So a little bit more about the Isle of Man. Where are we? So first off, we are in the middle of the Irish Sea, the little black icon you can see there on the map. A small island, only 32 miles long and 13 miles wide. We are a Crown dependency and we are governed by the British Isles, but we are very, very close to the UK and the British and Ireland, only about 30 minutes by plane and approximately 2 hours by boat. Population of 80,000, so only fairly small, but we are very well connected. So for those returning home or wanting to go on to further destinations for holidays, very easy to get on and off the island. One of the things that sets the Isle of Man apart is our wonderful work-life balance. We are the only entire nation in the world to have a UNESCO biosphere status. So we're very blessed with luscious landscapes, pristine beaches, wonderful work-life balance, the average commute only being about 20 minutes. So it allows you to thrive in your 9 to 5 and really, really enjoy and make the most of your 5 to 9 in the evenings and your weekends. So in terms of thinking about the benefits of relocating and incentives when it comes to the Isle of Man, we have a national insurance holiday scheme, which basically means that you can claim £4,400 worth of national insurance contributions at the end of your first full year of work and employment here. And you can find out a little bit more about that on the Locate website, and the website address is featured there. And again, we will follow up with this post-webinar. We also encourage you to sign up to the Graduate and Young Professional newsletter, where this is a new newsletter that we've developed, literally only just launched after the Graduate and Young Professional Fair end of last month. There we will keep you up to date with all the news and events and all of the latest job opportunities. We're working very, very closely with all of the relevant sectors to ensure that you have all of the information and latest roles available and how to actually contact those companies if you wish. So we do encourage you to sign up to that where you can. In terms of the finance sector itself, we might be small in terms of an island, but we are very mighty when it comes to the finance sector. There are lots and lots of opportunities here. It's a thriving sector. And we are very, very privileged to have 6 esteemed panel guests today from some of the largest finance companies that you will come across. And we will be talking about the opportunities to relocate and the successful careers they may have had, but also what those opportunities are within the companies themselves. It's a very, very fast-paced world of investment here in terms of investment banking. We have everything from accountancy to compliance, investment, insurance, tech. So much and so many opportunities for you to explore, which we'll delve into a little deeper very shortly. We have an excellent reputation when it comes to reliability and finance across the globe, unparalleled opportunities here. The companies are absolutely focused on professional development, workplace well-being. You really are at the forefront of their minds, and very, very competitive salaries too. It's important for them to attract and also retain the talent that you have. So you are very, very well looked after. And obviously you have all of that in addition to potentially some relocation packages. We always encourage you to speak to each individual company about what those relocation packages look like, because they will differ per company. However, we've also talked about the national insurance incentive as well, which is obviously excellent. So in conclusion, really, we are a dynamic and rewarding environment. We can offer the start of your finance career all that you require. We're very, very excited about what the sector has to offer and the direction in which it's going. Some excellent practices and some really, really wonderful companies and opportunities to help you flourish and thrive. But without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Brad Meechan, who is the Marketing Executive for Finance Isle of Man. Brad is our moderator today. He can also help you with anything with regards to the finance sector on the Isle of Man. If you want to reach out to him as well as the Locate team, he'll be happy to help. And Brad will take it from here and introduce you to our wonderful panel today.
Thank you very much. As Vori said, I'm Brad and I work in marketing for Finance Isle of Man. We represent the financial and professional services sector on the Isle of Man at a governmental level. So we're joined here today by a panel of professionals from across the spectrum of the finance industry we have here. And we're just here to give you an idea of what a career in finance on the Isle of Man looks like for young people such as yourself. So with us today, we have Matthew Shanahan from Utmost International, Janet Donnelly from PwC, Erica Humphreys from the Financial Crime and Strategy Policy for the government, Lucy Knox from the Capital International Group, Lucy Knox and Louise Fox. It's Louise Fox from Canada Life, Crystal Bishop from KPMG. So to start off, I think it'd be good to get an idea of the wealth of opportunities that we have on the Isle of Man. So if I can come to you first, Matthew, what areas of work are available in the finance sector on the Isle of Man?
We're quite lucky in the finance sector that people often just see us as money in and money out, but actually to sustain our company, we actually need about 112 different types of jobs to make that money in and money out happen. So we've got a full range of skill sets that we need, ranging from IT to accountancy to AML and compliance professionals, right through down to people who are just trying to find their feet in a career, from junior administrators and upwards. So we've got a wide range of different areas that people can work in, especially for graduates who maybe got a specialism like IT or cybersecurity. Those things are all relevant to us, and don't just think because you've got a degree in forensic science that that's not relevant to us. The skills behind that would really enable us to get you into a compliance role, for example. So yeah, we're quite good in the fact that the finance sector does require lots of different skills and lots of different jobs.
Excellent, thank you, Matthew. And obviously the finance sector is not just limited to industry. There's also a big part in government and in the sort of fighting of financial crime. So Erica, perhaps you could touch on the opportunities available there.
Thanks, Brad. Yeah, that's such a great observation. So actually, when I joined Isle of Man government, I wasn't aware of just the huge variety of opportunities that are available, specifically in with a focus on finance, and then as Brad was saying, with a further focus on compliance, anti-money laundering, tax compliance, and the like. So we have two registries. So we have the Financial Services Authority, we have the Gambling Supervision Commission, who register and look after our license holders in finance and gaming. We also have, for example, the likes of the Isle of Man Constabulary, so the proactive international money laundering investigation team, and the Economic Crime Unit, who are looking at elements of financial crime. There's a range of roles within our financial intelligence unit, and the
Oh, I think we've lost you a little bit there, Erica. Maybe come back to Erica in a minute. So sort of focusing mainly on graduates here. Janet, sort of what kind of roles can people fresh out of university go into on the Isle of Man?
So, thanks. If I focus on a firm with consulting, and I'm just hearing now, apologies if it's coming across a bit pixelated. In the firm, we tend to focus our roles on like trainee accountants, many actuarial things. We've got placements for tax specialists, so if you want to develop your career as a tax expert. But we also create opportunities across our wider support services functions, which is a normal standard. So you've got your finance, you've got IT, you've got HR, and the support functions that enable the firm to deliver. It's probably also worth thinking about the summer internships that we have. So to get a test and feel for whether firm consulting is something that you want to get involved in, we do run our internships every year, and you come to do 3 weeks with the firm and get a feel for what it's like working either on the audit accountancy side or in the actuarial side. So it's quite varied. It's within a framework of audit and consulting practices. And those who are interested, they can apply starting for the 2025 year. They can start to have a look at that for now.
Excellent, thank you, Janet. And Lucy, I know you were keen to talk about graduates as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've actually just launched our Graduate and Young Person programme earlier this year. So this is an opportunity for individuals to come in and spend 2 years working in different departments of their choice across the 3 entities that we have. So that's bank, investments, and then our group services. They decide where they want to spend their time, which I think is absolutely key for people. You know, we don't want to force them into something that they don't want to do or they don't have interest in. They sort of engage in project work, sort of developing their management skills and sort of learning throughout sort of job activities. And then we give them the option also to undertake CISI, Fundamentals of Financial Services. So that's a huge qualification in the financial services and sort of most widely respected professional body sort of across the financial sector. And once then they've finished their 2-year programme, they can decide upon their sort of chosen specialism that they want to work in. So I think it's important for individuals to maybe get a feel for actually what do they like, what don't they like. You know, if they've done a degree, brilliant, but that might not be their passion, or they might really not know what they want to do. So having an opportunity to spend time and get a better understanding of what's out there and what's in the business is key. And we've had 2 individuals who have come through that process and worked on that programme that are now in senior roles within the business, which just shows it works.
Excellent, thank you, Lucy. Now, as I can see, a few of you have been quite keen on the question panel there in the corner. So do keep your questions coming on in. Janet, I believe this one could be for you, and it comes in from a chartered accountant from Nigeria. And Mumin, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is asking whether a chartered accountant from Nigeria living in the UK for the past 2 years, but without UK work experience, can they benefit from the opportunity to come to the Isle of Man?
Yes, absolutely is the answer to that. So we have quite a diverse workforce here. We've got people from all over the world who come and work. You don't necessarily need UK experience, but we have to look at experience in terms of, as a chartered accountant, do they have audit experience, or do they want to start in a different area of the business? But I would encourage anyone that has any experience in accounting to definitely make contact with us.
Thank you very much. And you touched on it earlier, Matthew, but I just want to go back to the sort of the skills that someone might need to excel in finance on the Isle of Man. I know you said there's a lot of transferable skills. I wonder if you could expand on that a little bit for us.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different ways to look at this, and we approach it depending on what sort of areas that you're looking into. So we base a lot of our recruitment on the values that we actually advertise as part of our brand. And we think that if you've got the drive and the values that we really uphold, you can go anywhere within our sector and within our industry and our company. But the skills are really sort of people who who like attention to detail, can keep themselves up to date with regulatory matters. Also, and potentially good with numeracy as well, and can deal with customers. I mean, that's key. We're all here for that very purpose, regardless of whether we're in accounts or investments like ourselves. It's all about people who have the skills to be able to communicate well as well. But values are really, really important. I think we're in an industry that will allow graduates to flourish if they want it and if they need it and if they're prepared to go after it. So for us, it's really about the values rather than the skills. But skills, again, are important, especially around IT, accountancy, actuarial sorts of roles as well. So yeah, it's a twofold attempt really to get the best out of people. Is what we're after, is those values and those skills instead.
Thank you, Matthew. And Erica, from a government perspective on the skills, how do you feel? What do you think people should possess to excel?
Thanks. So I'm going to keep my camera off just in case it helps with the sticky internet. But obviously the skills and experience vary depending on the role. But on the whole, we'd be looking for, as Matthew was saying, a wide variety of transferable skills. Obviously, the advantages would be understanding concepts like law enforcement, money laundering, financial crime prevention, regulatory compliance and supervision, the strategy and policy, understanding of legislation, operational, strategic data analysis and research, and also very much, as Matthew was saying, those people skills, the ability to be able to communicate with a wide variety of stakeholders, to make complex information quite simple and transferable, so the ability to get your message across. And of course, the other attributes that's really important is just that wanting to work in the public service and the values around that. So that's something we also recruit against kind of character attributes as well as skills and experience. So I think, again, going back to the kind of wide variety of roles in government, and as one of the panelists was saying, you might have a degree in one area, but actually the skills and the knowledge that could potentially bring to another area of government. All our roles have all vacancies have a person specification attached to them, so they give a very clear breakdown of the requirements in terms of education, experience, skills, character attributes, etc. So government tries to be as clear as possible about exactly what we're looking for when we're recruiting people into roles.
Excellent, thank you very much. Now, moving on from there, obviously this is a session for graduates, so we'll be looking at sort of career progression and things like that. And the finance sector on the Isle of Man is really good to support people through their professional qualifications. So Lucy, I was wondering if you could maybe touch on how Capital, for instance, supports young people to gain those qualifications.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Capital in particular are sort of committed to developing its people, so fully supports, professional training. I, for example, was sort of lucky to partake in my CIPD HR qualifications, and I did that through UCM. So I did my level 3 and I did my level 5 there also. So the UCM, for those that don't know, is the Isle of Man University College. And I went up on a Thursday afternoon and did a classroom session. And I was lucky enough to be for Capital to financially support that, and was given the afternoon off to go and study and go to the classroom sessions. So that's with no deduction to my salary, and that's also no expectation for me to work that time back also, which means a lot. I think people underestimate sometimes how difficult it is doing a professional qualification alongside a full-time job too. But Capital also partner with training providers such as like MPES on the Isle of Man. So they provide professional tuition to bookkeeping and accountancy qualifications, so ACA and ACCA, but also like CIM, which is marketing program. They are partners on the Isle of Man too. So there's so many training providers on the Isle of Man that businesses can partner with and support their people through.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And Janet, obviously, training is a big thing in accountancy. So how do you support your young people through that?
Yeah, and similar to what Lucy was saying, is we do support our students. And as a learning organisation, we support everybody who wants to study. But if I go to particularly the accountants and the actuarial students, they would be fully funded for the 3-4 years of their study. Actuaries may go up to about 6 or 7 years of study, and we will fully fund all of that. So it's funding, it's time off, giving them time to study during working hours, and particularly coming up to the exam period. That's quite a big investment. I think the average cost can vary from about £20,000 to £25,000 worth of investment. So we're very committed to that. There will be obviously a claim period if someone should leave within a given period of time, but there's no doubt that the investment there to kind of help people with their career. But for the wider population of the firm, we also support ongoing. So being part of a network. So PwC worldwide, there's 260,000 people work for the network. There's a lot there. There's amazing training facilities available to everyone that joins the firm. So you can learn anything from skills needed in your job, but also about future thinking. So, using thinking on AI, new technology, what's happening in the world of transformation and digital upskilling. So we support our people. It's part of our learning process that everybody continues to develop and upskill. So I suppose summarising, it's funding, it's time on, it's providing you with the platforms, the online learning, and the time to kind of continuously upskill as a career professional.
Thank you, Janet. Now, as Vori did say before, we are quite a small island, but we do have a truly global outlook. So I was wondering for my next question, if I could bring in Crystal from KPMG, a truly global company, and just ask what kind of clients can a finance professional on the Isle of Man expect to deal with throughout their career?
Hi, Brad. Yeah, I mean, there's a load of clients that you can deal with, but typically within the Isle of Man, we find our candidates or employees typically in the banking, insurance, and investment sectors where they focus most of their time. We also have clients in the e-gaming. We have some in the real estate and in the private sector as well. So very, very different sectors, a lot of opportunity to get different skill sets and touch on different sectors within your 3 years of training.
That's excellent, thank you. And for you, Louise, what kind of clients do you deal with at Canada Life?
So we're international in name, but our book of business is across the UK and Ireland. But we're extremely diverse. Like the customer is definitely the forefront of the business. And there's like Matt was saying, like for a life insurance company, an alternative one, like we have lots of different opportunities here. They can vary from like customer service, which is the team that I'm based in, to actuarial, and we have like graduate programs for actuarial and things like that.
That's excellent. Thank you, Louise. Just going back to the questions here, I've noticed quite a few coming in on the subject of visas. Now, quite a complicated subject generally, but all the information is clearly laid out on our government website, which is www.gov, so gov.im. So if you head there, you can find all the information on visas required. So moving on to my next question, which is, so obviously you come in as a graduate, you go through your qualifications, you start dealing with clients. How are prospects for your progression on the Isle of Man? So moving through jobs, working your way up, really up that ladder. How does that look for young people? Maybe the first sort of 5 or 10 years. And I was wondering if Crystal, again, if I could bring you in on that.
Yeah, sure. So the journey for our grads is obviously to come in as a trainee, go through your traineeship, which is 3 years within audit, tax, and advisory. We do offer the opportunity for paid study support. So you learn and study and get your qualification through that time frame. Once you've qualified, you are automatically promoted to assistant manager, with the opportunity for external, international secondments, and that's globally. We are working closely with the KPMG International group, which forms part of the Islands Group. So we are very proud to be sending our candidates across to the likes of Cayman Islands, into Malta, across into the Caribbean islands and Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, as well as internal across the Channel Islands. So we've seen a lot of movement within our traineeship along there and into assistant managers and managers. But typically, you're looking up into your 5 years plus, working your way up from assistant manager into manager, and then into your senior manager within that time frame.
Excellent. And Erica, just bringing it back to a sort of government worker perspective, how is the progression there? Do you see people moving around in their jobs, progressing on?
Yeah, absolutely, Brad. The organisation is huge, and there are lots of opportunities to kind of move around there. For example, I've had many roles before joining the anti-money laundering policy team. So the advantages that come from working in a large organisation, building and developing transferable skills, does mean that there are real opportunities to move. We have a dedicated learning, education and development division that's part of our Office of Human Resources, and they deliver a range of learning and training for Isle of Man government staff, including subjects like leadership and management. So kind of really supporting our staff to move and to be mobile and to progress in their careers. Members of my team and I have been supported. We've completed various ICA qualifications, and my colleague Shannon has recently completed her Money Val Assessor training. So there are huge opportunities and a lot of support to move within the organisation.
That's great, and obviously this is a big question for everyone. So I think we could get even more perspective on this. Matthew, would you like to add to that?
In terms of the qualifications perspective, we sponsor over 20 different types. A lot of them have already been mentioned: ICA, CISI, ACCA. And to progress, we obviously, as we're nurturing talent and we're paying for their qualifications, it's more a case of we pay in accordance with that skill set that they're gaining. So obviously, as a trainee, the more qualifications you pass, you get rewarded as part of our benefits package to reward exam success, but then you'll also get subsequent pay rises that then match that skill and level of experience that you're bringing to the table. One of our key successes around qualifications tends to be our IT graduate space and our accountancy as well. We've had people who have come in, done their ACCA, done their international diplomas in cybercrime or cybersecurity, and are now sort of earning upwards of very demanding salaries that are competitive with anybody that offers those same roles. So we reward as and when you get those qualifications to match the skills that you're putting into the business.
That's great, thank you, Matthew. A question from the audience here. It's from someone called Judith. She's a chartered accountant with over 5 years of work experience and a university degree. So what kind of roles in the Isle of Man would be available for her area of interest, which is accounting and finance? So Janet, I think you might have something on this.
Yes, very exciting. We're always looking for individuals with experience in audit or accounting. So if somebody has 5 years experience, that may either be rolled in our audit team or perhaps even in our advisory team. So I would encourage you to get in touch and we can have a look at her experience and what her current aspirations are for and see where it takes us.
That's great. And just to touch on there, Vori will be giving an overview of the Locate Talent Portal later on, which is a great way for everyone in the audience. If you are interested in looking at opportunities on the Isle of Man, the Locate Talent Portal is your place to go, and Vori will give you an update on that later on. So moving on, obviously, we're lucky enough that quite a few of you have been in a position that these graduates are in now, and that you've moved over to the Isle of Man yourself. So I was just wondering what attracted you personally over to our island. Perhaps we could start with Crystal there.
Yep. So mine's actually quite recent. I've been with KPMG for quite some time, but relocated to the Isle of Man just over a year ago. So what attracted me was definitely the work-life balance. I can definitely confirm that is a thing. The work-life balance, just how friendly and I was really worried about the culture shift from South Africa to the Isle of Man. And man, oh man, are the people here just so friendly, helpful. I love the closeness of the community. You don't have to drive millions of miles to go and see something. You've got stunning views on your doorstep. Everything's in close proximity. And just what gets me is the daylight. You don't really have that in South Africa, where in winter at 4 o'clock the sun's gone down, and in summer at 10 o'clock you're still trying to get used to the fact that you can still get sunburnt. So for me, I love the open nature. Everything's green, everything's lush, it's very clean, it's very safe, and just a really warm, welcoming community. So yeah, highly recommended. I would do it all over again.
Fantastic message. You should work for Locate, Crystal. Over Erica, how about yourself? What attracted you over? Oh, have we got Erica there? Oh, maybe not. Maybe we should bring in Matthew. Matthew, how about yourself?
Sorry, just.
Oh. Oh, hello.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't necessarily what attracted me to the island, because when I came over, I didn't actually know where it was. I just came over for work on a whim, but it was more what made me want to stay. And Crystal sort of said it there. It was the fact that I'm from the inner city of Manchester. For me, it was the fact that there was a beach no more than 4 miles away from where I actually lived, and the ability to just finish work at 5 o'clock, be home by 20 past, taking my daughter onto the beach and playing with her just literally 10 minutes away from the house it was a work-life balance that can't be matched. And obviously then the fact that she's got the safety of being able to grow up and be this strong, independent person without a care in the world is really, really important to me. So yeah, it was more about what attracted me, and that beach everywhere you look is just fantastic.
Erica, do we have you? Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
Yes, oh. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Sorry. I seem to have a little delay taking my microphone off. So like Crystal, I'm a fellow South African, and like Crystal, I completely agree with her summary of the Isle of Man's people. They are friendly, they are welcoming, they are helpful. It's a wonderful community to be part of. Unlike Crystal, I've been on the island for 22 years. So my partner was offered a job, and we moved over together. And we love the open space, the safety and security as well. Both of us are quite active, and we love getting out into the outdoors. We go swimming. Lots of sea swimming is really good here in the summer. We get out on the bikes, on the road bikes and the mountain bikes. I do quite a lot of horse riding, and my partner also works in the public sector. So we've been looked after really well in our careers as well, and have both worked in public services in the island for the 22 years that we've been here. And like Crystal, wouldn't do anything different.
Excellent. And Janet as well, I believe you've got something to add here.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that I'm probably on the island longer than some people on this call, because I've been here a very long time. But similar to what Matt said, is I came to the island for personal reasons many years ago, but it was the opportunity it created to stay in terms of my career. So for all the reasons that everybody else says, I love the island in terms of its safety, its beauty, etc. But I was fortunate enough to have a number of jobs and career opportunities that took me traveling worldwide. And I think I would say to anybody on the call to really consider the opportunity being on the island. Because it's small, a lot of the firms, a lot of the companies have presence in many other countries. But being part of the Isle of Man, you get to travel or even be seconded to many different countries across the world. So for me, I stayed because I worked Middle East, I worked in Asia, I went to Latin America. So my roles took me all over the world. But I was able to come back and be based on the island. And I think that's probably something you wouldn't necessarily get if you worked for a big company in the UK. You would have the beauty of having a career worldwide, but also the safety and beauty of living on an island and having access to a beach, etc. I think, like our particular firm, we offer a program, particularly for young people in their career. It's called our Gateway program, where they can even do secondments to any of the PwC offices in the world. And in particular, EMEA, that's what we're connected with at the moment. So you should come into the island, not just living here and enjoying the island life, but I think you can access more opportunities worldwide that you probably wouldn't get necessarily if you're working in the other bigger companies in the UK. I'm a big advocate for sport. So the island is a very sporting community. So whether you're interested in sport yourself or whether you have family members or children who are interested in sport, it really does give you that outlet to develop your sporting career at a high level. We do access, obviously, the Commonwealth Games, and some people can go further afield. So being part of the island is the beauty of it, as well as your career, as well as the opportunity in a more rounded well-being lifestyle is fantastic.
I think that's a very good point, Janet. We are separate, but by no means are we cut off on the Isle of Man. Now, moving on to the big question. The big question: what are salaries like for people coming on straight out of university into a role in finance on the Isle of Man? Matthew, maybe you could touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it depends upon what role you're going to come into. Our salaries for graduates, especially if you're on the graduate trainee program, tend to start at about 24,000. However, if you're coming in at a trainee accountant, it could potentially be about £30,000, and potentially about the same for actuaries as well. And then we increase the salaries accordingly, depending on your exposure, the skills you get while you're working with us, and then the qualifications that you pass as well. So it varies, but minimum is normally about 24, and then for accountancy, it tends to be about 30,000.
Excellent. And then sort of just looking beyond that, as you say, once you qualify, so sort of say someone came in as an accountant or an actuary, where could they expect to be from their starting point to sort of 5 years down the line, they're now qualified?
Given the shortage on the Isle of Man for actuaries at the moment, you could pretty much name your price, but we would potentially go up to anywhere up to 70 to 80,000 if we needed to, for someone who was fully qualified and had been with us for 5 to 10 years.
So very, very good prospects on the Isle of Man then.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not just about the salary. There are companies who offer a variety of other benefits as well. Louise, perhaps you could touch on the other benefits that companies are likely to offer their employees.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Canada Life, we have a real great pension scheme, and it's driven dependent on age brackets. So obviously, the older you get, the bigger the portion is, which is it's a fantastic pension, probably one of the better ones on the island. We're also really lucky that since COVID, we've also got a hybrid working policy as well. So we ask that staff come in the office 2 days a week, and then the rest up to them if they want to work from home for a couple of days. We also have great sort of private healthcare. We have access to 24-hour doctors, and we have a great social side. The company's always doing lots of different things, and support talent. So we have we've literally just been and set up a new system so that people can call out thanks to other colleagues, best of the best within the company. So you can sort of see the rising stars within the company across the group. So it's really really, really great with all the different things that come about. Obviously, parking is always a great one, especially being Douglas based. That really helps.
Yeah, parking is always underrated as a benefit, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Janet, how about at PwC?
So quite similar to what Louise was saying, we have obviously a competitive salary, but also wellness scheme, private health, income protection. We do obviously, as we said, fully support study and there's digital upskilling. But I suppose in terms of the experience of the benefits of working with the company, we have flexibility, again, hybrid working environment. We've got a referral scheme. We support career breaks, so if people want to do sabbaticals and take time out, we support that. We have an all-round very good social calendar. So when you join, particularly those who may be travelling further afield, it's a good way of building a network of friendship groups and having that social calendar there for the year. And I was just coming to work that we do a lot of complimentary fruits and snacks and things. That's the environment is one of kind of health and well-being.
Excellent, thank you. And Crystal, how about you? Do you have anything further to add on the benefits side of things?
Very, very similar to Janet and Louise with regards to competitive salary. We've also got a hybrid working, have a lot of social clubs, internal events, a lot of external events as well. We've got that KPMG relay that happens. We also have a referral bonus. We look at paid study leave, your 23-day annual leave with the additions to your bank holidays. We have a lot of flexi benefits that come in the form of vouchers. Again, very similar to the others with regards to your health scheme and life insurance. What we do also offer to those that are not on the island is relocation benefits. So we pay for your flights and the booking of those flights. We pay for 3 weeks temporary accommodation while she gets settled on the island. And we also have a relocation allowance to help those relocate their goods across to the island. So we're very, very supportive, encourage relocation, a very dynamic and very inclusive relocation package, not just for the individual, but for their family as well.
Fantastic. If I could just touch on that a little bit more, Crystal, something you touched upon there was just the how you almost support people outside of work, because obviously when you move to a different place, whether it be a different country or a different city, it's really important to build a network of people around you. So how do almost businesses on the Isle of Man assist and encourage people to become more active socially?
Well, we do have a lot of social clubs. We also have what we call a buddy. So each new person who joins the firm gets allocated a buddy. And we always look at someone that has the similar interests to you, similar age group, that can just show you around. I mean, just from my personal experience, I was allocated a buddy, and we're still great friends today. And it just helps you because it's very daunting having to relocate, first of all. Now, to think about if you've got a partner or someone that's going to be coming with you, what are they going to do? So we really go above and beyond. We have calls with the people that we're going to employ. We go through the education, we go through the medical, because these are all little things we don't think about until we actually relocate. Or, well, what's the medical like? You know, if they've got chronic medication, do we support that on the island? What is it like with the medical schemes? So a very, very supportive structure within our HR team that take you step by step through the relocation from day one until you get onto the island. And even further, we have 3, 4, 6 month follow-ups with our candidates to really make sure that they feel valued and the move that they've made has definitely been the right move for them.
Thank you, Crystal. And I'm just going to bring Vori back in here because obviously the helping people assimilate socially into the Isle of Man is a big part of what Locate do. So I was wondering if you could shine a little bit of a light on the relocation events.
Yeah, very much so. I was going to touch on these before we finish. So that we do run relocation events and connection events. Now, the connection events are new for 2024, and we have two that we're running in particular this summer to give them a trial run to see how they go. Now, these are specifically for young professionals and graduates to connect you with like-minded people to help you build your network, which is really, really important. And yeah, to meet others that are in a very similar position to you, having either returned to the island or who have relocated here. So they will be taking place, one in June and one in August, and we will inform you about all of those through the newsletter, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll touch on them a little bit more before we close.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bori. And the final question before we take some from the floor, if you will, is if anyone has an example of a graduate joining their company from the UK. Matthew, I believe you have an example, or probably a few from Upmost.
Yeah, we've got a few different people, and we're actually bringing somebody over at the moment. They're IT professional. We actually advertised the role locally as well. Decided they were the best person for the job, but the local candidates then all got something on the back of it as well. But this candidate she's met her manager. We're talking her through how to relocate. We've just supported her through TT because her landlord or soon-to-be landlord has realised that he's booked the property out during the TT so he can take advantage of the scheme. So we've had to put her up in temporary accommodation. We've supported her relocation. But we've also set out a clear guideline. So we want her to be a future info security analyst. And as part of that, we've paid her competitively to bring her over. We've supported that. We've said we'll pay for her qualifications. We're setting on her on a career goal path, and that's the ultimate place we've been. We've also recently just brought over a trainee actuary as well, and that's very similar. We're supporting them through the visa application process. Again, for anyone who hasn't used them before, the Isle of Man Immigration Office is really, really helpful. They're a lot more productive and helpful than they are in the UK. You can actually get to speak to people who understand the situation that you're going through, so don't let that ever put anybody off. We've got a good relationship with them as well. And we're bringing them over again. We've set out what their qualifications will be. We've set them out what we expect from them. And then we're going to support them get there because we want them to be successful, especially as it's a big move for them. They're coming all the way from Nigeria. So we're hand-holding them through that. And then that will be then that they can help and shape the future of our business. We're looking to bring stop outsourcing our risk actuarial modelling, and we want them to be a part of that as well. So they've got a career, not just now, but long into the future. And yeah, so we tend to bring over about 5 to 6 graduates over each year, primarily around accountancy and IT, but more and more in the compliance sector as well, because that is a growing need on the island as regulations change and adapt and adapt with AI and crypto. So it's something that we're looking to always support, and we're quite clear about what we want in the expectations of somebody who's coming into the business to be a graduate.
Fantastic. And Janet as well, I believe you have an example for us.
Yes, so we bring quite a few people to the island, generally coming from further afield, so Asia or African region, tend to be qualified, experienced level. So they'd be our senior associates and our managers, because that's an area that we don't have that level of capability on the island. So, but we've started more recently bringing in the associate level, so that's the entry level. And similar to what Matt says, we do all the preparation to make sure they understand what's required in their job. They settle in, so we give them help in finding apartments, where to stay, and spend time in that cultural upskilling, so they're aware of what the differences are about working in the Isle of Man. We've got different behaviours, different cultures, different everything. So we spend a bit of time making sure that they understand where they need to adapt, but also where we, as their employer and their working colleagues, where we need to adapt. When I spoke to one individual, now this one came from Scotland, so he didn't come that far, but he just finished his university, so wherever age he finished studying, he came to the island around the COVID time. Hadn't planned to move anywhere outside Scotland, but saw the opportunity and joined us. But he said he found the whole move very easy, and that's again with our colleagues in Locate, helping them get over here. and the work that we provide to them until they're settled in. But he said, now being here, similar to all the stories we've heard in terms of why people settle, he found it very easy finding somewhere to stay. The commute is about 10, 15 minutes, so he walks to work. So he has that time where he comes, he may work long hours, but he still gets on with a reasonable time. And I think that's something he wouldn't have found had he stayed in Scotland doing a similar job. He did find people very approachable and very friendly, so that's something I think we pride ourselves on the Isle of Man. And said the whole learning experience, as a trainee accountant, he trains with NPS, so he goes to NPS, which I think somebody else mentioned earlier on, and found that he developed a community of other learners and students. So he built his network. Having come over with no friends here, he was able to build up a friendship group from the students, and that's from some other firms and the industry as well. It wasn't just from our firm. So I think he was happy he took the leap, but found it easy to settle as a young person into the island who didn't have any context when he came here initially.
Excellent, thank you. And I think there in your answers you've actually touched on a lot of what people have been asking here. Although this is obviously UK focused, there are different things to overcome if you're coming from further afield, but there's certainly no major barrier. There are opportunities on the Isle of Man from people coming far and wide, and a wealth of opportunities as well at that. So thank you very much, everyone, for taking part in this Q&A. It's been great to hear all about your experiences on the Isle of Man and the finance and the opportunities that are here. So thank you very much, and I'll hand back over to Vori.
Super, thank you. And thank you again from myself as well for the panelists for your time today. We really do appreciate it. And I hope those that have had this session are really useful and interesting to date. Just quickly before we close, and for any final questions, should you have any, just to let you know that we have a dedicated member of the team, Erin Herberson, who sadly couldn't join us today, but she is the youth development officer. So she's looking after the graduates and young professionals within the Isle of Man for Locate. She can be contacted on locate.dfe@gov.im. So that is the main website, the main email address, and Erin can be contacted through that. We also encourage you to sign up to the e-newsletter, as we've mentioned before, this new one here. So we'll tell you all about the connection events through that. So you can also sign up to them. If you happen to be on island, if you're already on island, or you want to pop over and have a visit and come and see what the Isle of Man's all about, we're happy to arrange even tours around the island just to and connect you with any of the companies today to give you a good feel for what the island has to offer. So do let us know if you do plan to travel over at any point, and we'll do our best to connect you. Just briefly, before we close, I'd like to touch on the talent portal, which Brad has referred to today. The talent portal is really what we'd encourage as next step after the webinar today, including signing up for the newsletter. The talent portal is very much a skills matching environment. So it's an online networking environment for you to basically upload your skills to. And then once your skills have been uploaded, you will be connected and matched with the companies within that portal. You can also do job searches through that portal. The alerts can be set up to whether any matches do occur. You can connect and reach out to the employees and the recruitment agencies within the portal as well, which is really, really beneficial. So it's very much networking, as opposed to, don't consider it a sort of a CV upload or anything like that. Is that your skills will be uploaded, and that's wonderful to see, but it's very much a connection environment for you to take those conversations offline with whoever you choose. Equally, the members of our panel today also have access to the talent portal, as do many other finance companies in the sector. So they are also in that portal looking for anyone who has uploaded their skills to see if they are a good match for them for any new roles and opportunities that do arise. So whilst you can contact companies, they can also contact you. So it's very well worth you being in that space. So if you follow the talentportal.locate.im link at the bottom, again, which we'll send you after the session today, you can upload for free and hopefully get those conversations started. So just a reminder to, we would encourage you to reach out to any of the companies within the talent portal and online today to find out a little bit more about their own relocation packages. We heard from a couple today, but they do vary, and it's really, really important that you have a conversation with them. There's lots that they offer, so please do have that conversation just to see what possibilities there are for you in the roles that you might be looking for should you be successful, or even potentially looking with support on an interview stage or otherwise. The National Insurance Holiday Scheme is also there, as we've mentioned. After your first full year of employment, you can claim up to £4,400 reimbursement. We also encourage you, as we've mentioned, to connect with our connection events. So by signing up to the newsletter, you'll hear more about these. We've got a pizza night in June, and we have an axe throwing session in August. So lots of fun things planned for the local sort of young professional community here that have recently relocated or returned after university. So that's really it from ourselves. So from my Brad and myself and the panelists, I would just like to thank you again for joining us today for the webinar. And if you have any final questions, please just pop them in the chat and the question box. We'll have a quick look now. Brad, if you'd like to take a look, if there's anything else that we have we can answer now, we will do that in the last couple of minutes before we say cheerio, and then get these slides sent off to you so that you can follow our next steps and suggestions.
Yeah, we just have one here from Sylvia.
Says, hi, I'm a postgraduate from Cardiff University, majoring in accounting and finance. I've been granted exemptions for 4 ACCA papers. Does this make me part qualified? And would this be advantageous for applying to entry-level accounting or auditing positions? Perhaps, Janet, you could pick this one up?
Yes. So the answer is it's great to have exemptions. It doesn't make you part qualified because there's a number of entry-level exams and then professional exams depending on what qualification. But certainly it gives you an advantage if you've done, you get 4 exemptions from ACCA. And I would encourage the individual to look into that a little bit more about, taking up an audit or an accounting career at entry level, because it means you can kind of move through it quicker.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Just to join Janet there, it doesn't necessarily make you part qualified, but it would certainly be sustainable for a trainee accountancy at Utmost International. Our approach does differ slightly from Janet's, obviously, because it's a slightly different profession. But it would certainly be advantageous in an entry-level accountancy role if we were looking. Which we are actually, by the way. So if you do fancy, look at our website.
Another one's just come in here from Judith, which says, does the graduate role in the IOM offer work sponsorship for international students, or is it applicable to only UK visa holders?
It's both for us.
So that from a new perspective, we get visas for individuals that are successful in their application. So it's not restricted to UK.
Excellent. And we'll take this final one, which is from Darshan, who is a student at the University of Dundee, currently pursuing a master's in accounting and finance. Darshan has work experience mostly with family businesses. So how would he use that to his benefit within our finance industry?
I mean, during an interview process there, he would certainly be able to demonstrate some of the skills and values that we would want to be looking at. He'd certainly be able to put it into the context of how he would apply it in a day-to-day, which if he was sat in front of a recruiting manager would definitely make it easier for them. It'd certainly make the CV stand out quite well. So he play to it as best he can, really, if he's got hands-on experience as well as the qualifications.
Yeah. Can I just say, from a PhD perspective, well, we don't necessarily look for experience. When someone comes for an interview, similar to what Matt said, if you can demonstrate that you've worked in an environment, so you know what it's like just to operate in a commercial environment, that gives you that little bit more compared to some of the other applicants. So I'd strongly recommend that they apply to any of the companies here today, but certainly use those that experience kind of demonstrate what more you can bring in your application.
That's great. Thank you both, and thank you to everyone on the panel
today who's taken time out to join us. I'd just like to sign off by saying, if you are interested in pursuing a career on the Isle of Man, the website you need to visit is locate.im. There you'll find all about the relocation, how you relocate, jobs, personal life, work-life balance on the Isle of Man. Any details you'll find on there. And you'll also find information on how to contact our team to start your process. So thank you very much for coming along today, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.